Welcome back to the main events of Italian diplomatic activity abroad. The government's line toward Israel is very clear. We maintain a frank and direct dialogue without ever giving up expressing our position and, when necessary, our dissent. This was stated by Foreign Minister Antonio Tajani during the last question time on April 23 in the Senate. The head of the Farnesina defined Gaza as an open wound, a humanitarian tragedy that has shaken our consciences, and announced that further measures against the violence of Israeli settlers in the West Bank are being studied.
Sulla Cisgiordania abbiamo una posizione molto chiara.
We have a very clear position on the West Bank. Any hypothesis of annexation is unacceptable because it undermines the prospect of a two-state solution that coexists in peace and security. This is why we continue to support European sanctions against settlers who are responsible for violence, including violence against Christian communities. These are unacceptable criminal actions that undermine any possible negotiated solution. We are working with our European partners so that the European Union adopts new sanctions against extremist settlers in the coming days.
Nuove sanzioni contro I coloni estremisti.
The week had opened with the Italy-Kenya Economic Forum, held on April 20th in Rome on the occasion of the visit to Italy of the President of Kenya, William Ruto, who met with the President of the Republic, Sergio Mattarella, and the Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni. Also present was Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Mudavadi. Kenya confirms itself among the most dynamic markets in the sub-Saharan Africa and a key country for the implementation of the Mattei Plan. In 2025, trade with Italy reached €280 million, up 34%, a concrete sign, Minister Tajani underlined in his speech, of strongly expanding economic relations and of still broad development potential in which Italy can play a central role. On April 21st, the European Union Foreign Affairs Council meeting has held in Luxembourg, attended by Minister Tajani accompanied by Undersecretary Maria Tripodi. At the center of the works was the war in Ukraine, with the remote participation of Kiev's Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha. The 27th discussed the loan in support of Ukraine of €90 billion for the period 2026-2027 and the 20th package of sanctions, which were then adopted by the subsequent European Council in Cyprus. Regarding the situation in the Middle East, Minister Tajani reiterated Italy's willingness to contribute to multilateral initiatives for security and freedom of navigation in the Straits of Hormuz. On April 22nd in Rome, the Italy-Poland Strategic Forum was held, titled The Bridge, Commitment and Cooperation, Politics and Economic between the Baltic and the Mediterranean. The event was opened by Foreign Minister Antonio Tajani and the Polish Foreign Minister Radoslaw Sikorski. During the proceedings, the two ministers signed an agreement to strengthen political and diplomatic dialogue and strategic cooperation on foreign policy issues. Among the topics discussed, energy security, migration, countering disinformation, the Western Balkans, and Africa. Tajani and Sikorski also held a bilateral meeting to discuss bilateral and international issues. The Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, Edmondo Cirielli, concluding a joint mission in Mauritania together with the Minister of Health, Orazio Schillaci. Following the latest visit by Minister Tajani and Interior Minister Piantedosi, Mauritania confirms itself as a key regional partner for Italy and the European Union. The portfolio of Italy cooperation in the country includes active bilateral initiatives worth about €21.5 million, mainly focused on food security, climate resilience, rural development, healthcare and natural resource management. The Farnesina celebrates the 9th edition of the Italian Research Day in the World, established on April 22nd on the anniversary of the birth of Rita Levi-Montalcini, Nobel Prize in Medicine in 1986, and the first Italian woman to receive recognition in the scientific field. Among the initiatives promoted by the Diplomatic Consular Network within the broader action of scientific diplomacy, there is the one in Helsinki dedicated to the figure of Giuseppe Acerbi, an Enlightenment figure, geographer, explorer, diplomat and composer, the first Italian to reach the North Cape by land in 1799. A concert conference titled Echoes Beyond Borders, promoted by the Italian Cultural Institute, was dedicated to him. On April 22nd, at the Libreria Feltrinelli in Montevideo, the first foreign branch of the historic Italian chain, the presentation of the novel The Anniversary by Andrea Baiani, winner of the Premio Strega 2025, took place. In the morning, the author had met with students from 3 classes of the Italian School of Montevideo. Baiani's tour in South America, which will end at the Buenos Aires Book Fair, is supported by the local network by the Italian Cultural Institutes. The new website of the Farnesina, esteri.it, is now online. At the center of the new version is a strong focus on the user, favoring usability, clarity of information, functionality, and quick access to services. Among the main innovations are the new Services and Opportunities box for citizens and businesses, the topic section to explore the ministry competencies and activities, and the Farnesina in the World box to discover the foreign network, social media and events. And that's all for now. Thanks for your attention and stay tuned.